The shuttle from Earth was small and old. It looked like a metal box with engines stuck to its sides. Compared to the sleek golden ships from the Kethari Empire or the living crystal vessels of the Volorni, it was ugly. Nobody on Station Vareth 7 even bothered to watch it dock. Inside that ugly little shuttle sat Maya Chun. She was 17 years old, with black hair tied back in a simple ponytail and dark eyes that watched everything. She wore the standard gray uniform of the Galactic Academy, but it did not fit her well. It had been made for species with longer arms and wider shoulders. On her small human frame, it hung loose and awkward. Maya did not care about the uniform. She cared about the window. Through the thick glass, she could see the station for the first time. Vareth 7 was massive. It hung in space like a city made of light and metal. Towers stretched in every direction. Ships moved around it like insects around a hive. Millions of beings lived there, from hundreds of different worlds. And somewhere inside that impossible place was the Galactic Academy, the most famous school in known space. Maya was going to be its first human student. The shuttle landed with a heavy clunk. The door opened. Maya picked up her single bag, a worn duffel that had belonged to her mother, and stepped out into her new life. The docking bay was enormous. The ceiling was so high that clouds actually formed near the top. Aliens of every shape and size moved through the space. Some walked on 2 legs like Maya. Some walked on 4 or 6, or none at all. Some floated. Some crawled. The noise was incredible. Hundreds of languages mixed together into a soup of sound that her translator implant struggled to process. Nobody looked at her twice. Maya made her way through the crowds, following the directions on her datapad. The academy was in the upper levels of the station, where the air was cleaner and the halls were wider. As she rose through the transport tubes, she noticed that the aliens around her changed. They became larger, more confident, more dangerous-looking. By the time she reached the academy entrance, she was surrounded by the children of empires. The main hall was made of something that looked like white marble but felt warm to the touch. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. Students moved in groups, talking and laughing in their various languages. Maya saw her first Kethari there. They were impossible to miss. The Kethari were tall, almost 3 meters high. They had scales like a lizard, colored deep green and black. Their eyes were yellow with slit pupils. Their hands ended in claws that looked sharp enough to cut metal. They moved like predators, slow and sure, and every other species moved out of their way. Maya did not move out of their way. She was too busy looking at her datapad, trying to find her assigned quarters. She walked right past a group of 4 Kethari without even glancing at them. One of them noticed. His name was Vrexus. He was the son of a Kethari war leader, and he had ruled the Academy's social order for 2 years. He watched a small human female walk past him like he was furniture, and something hot and angry twisted in his chest. But he did not act. Not yet. He simply watched her go and added her face to his memory. Maya found her quarters in the lower section of the student housing. The room was small and cramped, clearly meant for species that did not need much space. There were 2 beds, 2 desks, and 1 window that looked out at a gray metal wall. Her roommate was already there. She was a Pelorian, a species that looked something like a mix between a deer and a moth. She had soft brown fur, large dark eyes, and delicate antennae that trembled when she was nervous. Right now, they were trembling a lot. "You are the human," she said. Her voice was soft and musical. "I am Senna. I have read about your species. You are new to space travel, yes?" "Yes," Maya said. She put her bag on the empty bed. "We made first contact about 10 years ago." "That is very new." Senna's antenna trembled more. "I do not understand why they sent you here." The Academy is not kind to new species. The strong eat the weak. That is how it has always been. Maya sat on her bed and looked at her new roommate. Is that why you're scared? Because you're weak? Senna flinched like Maya had hit her. I am not. I mean, yes, Pelorians are prey species. We evolved to run and hide. Species like the Cathari evolved to hunt and kill. It is simple biology. I see. Maya began to unpack her bag. There was not much inside. Some clothes. A few paper books which made Senna stare. Some small metal tools. A photograph of two smiling humans standing in front of a red desert. And where do humans fit in that system? Senna thought about it. I do not know. Your species is very confusing. You have no claws, no scales, no natural weapons. You are small and soft. But you also spread across your planet and killed most of your large predators before you invented space travel. The scientists cannot agree on what you are. Maya smiled. It was a strange smile, Senna thought. Warm but also somehow sharp. We're still figuring that out ourselves, Maya said. That night, Senna tried to warn Maya about the Academy's dangers. She talked about the Cathari and their brutal social games. She talked about students who had been beaten, humiliated, or driven to leave. She talked about how the administration never stepped in, because strength and dominance were considered natural and right in galactic culture. Maya listened to all of it. She asked questions. What species were allied with the Cathari? What areas of the station did they control? What happened to students who fought back? Fighting back makes it worse, Senna said. The Cathari are too strong. No one can beat them in a fair fight. And if you try, they hurt you more to make an example. What about an unfair fight? Maya asked. Senna did not understand the question. Maya just smiled again and said, "Good night." In the darkness of her small room. On a station millions of miles from Earth, Maya-chan lay awake and listened to the sounds of the station around her. She thought about her parents, who had died exploring a world at the edge of known space. She thought about Earth, a planet of storms and predators and endless struggle. She thought about all the things humanity had survived to reach this moment. The galaxy thought humans were soft. The galaxy thought humans were weak. Galaxy had no idea what was coming. Maya closed her eyes and slept like a stone. 3 days passed. Maya went to her classes. She sat in the back and took notes. She did not speak unless a teacher called on her. She did not make friends. She did not make enemies. She was like a shadow, present but easy to ignore. The other students did not know what to make of her. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Most species had never seen one in person before. Maya was small compared to almost everyone else. Her skin was soft and brown. She had no claws, no scales, no armor. When she walked, she made almost no sound. When she sat in class, she was so still that some students forgot she was there. The teachers were not sure what to make of her either. Her test scores were strange. In some subjects, she was far behind. She knew almost nothing about galactic history or interstellar politics. But in other areas, she was surprisingly good. Her mathematics were solid. Her understanding of physics was strong. And in biology class, when the teacher asked about predator-prey relationships, Maya gave an answer that made the whole room go quiet. On Earth, she said, we have a word for animals that hunt in groups, use tools, and change their environment to suit their needs. We call them apex predators. My species did all of those things. We did them so well that we killed almost everything that tried to hunt us. The ones that survived learned to stay away. The teacher, a thin Valorni with silver skin, stared at her for a long moment. Interesting, he said finally. But surely that was long ago. Your species is civilized now. Maya smiled. Yes, she said. We are very civilized now. Something about the way she said it made several students uncomfortable. But they could not explain why. On the morning of the fourth day, Rexus decided it was time. He had been watching Maya since her arrival. He had seen her walking alone through the halls. He had seen her eating alone in the food court. He had seen her sitting alone in the library, reading those strange paper books she had brought from Earth. She was isolated, vulnerable, perfect. Rexus was not cruel by nature. He was simply a product of his culture. The Kithari believed in strength above all things. The strong ruled. The weak served. It was the natural order of the universe. By putting the human in her place, he was teaching her an important lesson. He was helping her understand reality. That was what he told himself, anyway. Maya was crossing the main atrium when it happened. The atrium was the heart of the academy, a massive open space where students gathered between classes. Hundreds of beings were there that morning. When Rexus stepped into Maya's path, they all stopped to watch. 4 other Kithari stood behind him. They were his pack, his followers. They spread out to block any escape. Not that the human could escape anyway. She was carrying an armful of data tablets. She looked up at Rexus like a mouse looking up at a cat. You are the earth creature, Rexus said. His voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. I have been watching you. I know, Maya said. That surprised him. You know, you're not subtle. She shifted the tablets in her arms. Can I help you with something? A few students in the crowd made sounds of shock. No one spoke to Rexus like that. No one spoke to any Kithari like that. The 4 followers behind Rexus growled low in their throats. Rexus felt his anger rise. This tiny creature was disrespecting him. In front of everyone. She needed to learn her place immediately. Your species is new to the galaxy, he said, stepping closer. He towered over her. His shadow covered her completely. You do not understand how things work here. So I will teach you. He shoved her. His hand hit her chest like a hammer. Maya flew backward. The data tablets scattered across the polished floor with a crash. She hit the ground hard and slid, several meters before stopping. The atrium was completely silent. Rexus walked toward her fallen body. His claws clicked on the floor with each step. The other students watched, some with pity, some with excitement, most with the dull acceptance of people who had seen this before. Your species is weak, Rexus said, standing over her. You are soft. You bleed easily. I can smell the blood in your veins from here. I can smell the blood in your veins from here. It would be very easy to spill it. Maya did not move. She lay on the floor with her eyes closed. For a moment, Rexus thought he might have actually hurt her badly. Humans were fragile, after all. Maybe he had used too much force. Then her eyes opened. Rexus had hunted many creatures in his life. He had seen prey animals freeze in terror. He had seen them run in panic. He had seen them fight back desperately, hopelessly. He knew what fear looked like in 1,000 different species. There was no fear in Maya's eyes. There was something else. Something he could not name. Something that made the scales on the back of his neck rise in a way they had never risen before. Maya sat up slowly. She did not groan. She did not cry. She simply sat up, looked at Rexus, and spoke one word. One. Rexus blinked his yellow eyes. What? That is one. Maya stood up. There was dust on her uniform. A small cut on her hand was bleeding slightly. She did not seem to notice. You get one free hit. Everyone gets one free hit. That is how I was raised. You are threatening me? Rexus laughed. The sound echoed through the silent atrium. Little creature, I could tear you apart with one hand. Maybe, Maya said. Her voice was calm, almost friendly. But you will not do that today. Today, you will walk away. And I will walk away. And we will pretend this never happened. And if I do not walk away? Maya tilted her head slightly. It was a small movement, but something about it was deeply unsettling. Like watching a predator measure its prey. Then we will find out what happens, she said. The two of them stood there for a long moment. The atrium was so quiet that people could hear the ventilation systems humming far above. Rexus felt something strange in his chest. It was not fear, exactly. The Cathari did not feel fear, but it was close. Finally, he laughed again, louder this time. You are brave for such a small thing, he said. Stupid, but brave. I will let you go today. But remember this moment, human. Remember what I can do to you whenever I choose. He turned and walked away. His followers went with him. The crowd began to move again, talking in hushed voices about what they had just seen. Maya bent down and began picking up her scattered tablets. Her hands were steady. Her breathing was slow and even. No one helped her. No one approached her. They were all too confused by what had just happened. Senna found her later in their room. Maya was sitting on her bed, reading one of her paper books. The cut on her hand had been cleaned and bandaged. Everyone is talking about you, Senna said. Her antennae were trembling wildly. They say you talked back to Vrexus. They say you threatened him. They say you are either the bravest person in the academy or the most foolish. What do you think? Maya asked without looking up. Senna sat on her own bed. She wrapped her arms around herself. I think you do not understand what you have done. Vrexus cannot let this go now. His honor demands that he breaks you. He will come for you again, and next time, he will not hold back. Maya turned a page in her book. I know. Then why did you do it? Maya finally looked up. Her dark eyes met Senna's large, frightened ones. Because I am not prey, she said simply. And I never will be. Senna did not sleep well that night. She kept hearing those words in her head. She kept seeing the look in Maya's eyes when she had stood up from the floor. Senna had seen predators before. She had grown up on a world where Pelorians were hunted by creatures with sharp teeth and fast legs. She knew what predators looked like. Maya looked like a predator, but that was impossible. Humans were soft. Humans were weak. Humans were new to the galaxy and did not understand how things worked, unless everything Senna thought she knew about humans was wrong. The days after the incident were strange. Maya went back to being invisible. She attended classes. She took notes. She read her books. But now people watched her. They whispered when she walked past. They pointed when they thought she was not looking. The story had spread through the academy like fire. The human had talked back to Vrexus. The human had stood up after being knocked down. The human had shown no fear. Most students thought she was simply too stupid to understand the danger. Humans were new to the galaxy. Maybe they did not know what the Cathari were capable of. Maybe the human girl thought the rules of her small planet applied here. A few students thought differently. They watched Maya more carefully. They noticed things the others missed. The way she moved through crowds, always aware of who was around her. The way her eyes tracked movement, constantly scanning for threats. The way she never sat with her back to a door. Those students began to wonder if there was more to humans than anyone knew. Vrexus wondered too, but for different reasons. The human had embarrassed him. She had made him look weak in front of the whole academy. He could not let that stand. But something held him back. Something about the way she had looked at him. Something about the way she had said, "One." He decided to wait, to watch, to learn more about his prey before he struck again. Maya, meanwhile, was doing her own learning. Every night, after Senna fell asleep, Maya did something strange. She pushed her bed against the wall and cleared a space in the middle of the small room. Then she moved Dot. It was not dancing, though it looked a little like that. It was not fighting, though it looked a little like that too. It was something in between. Her body flowed through patterns that seemed almost automatic. Her fists struck invisible targets. Her feet swept in low arcs. Her breathing was slow and controlled. One night, Senna woke up and watched through half-closed eyes. She had never seen anything like it. Maya moved like water, smooth and continuous, but also like fire, sharp and sudden. Sometimes she would freeze in a position and hold it for long minutes. Sometimes she would explode into motion so fast that Senna's eyes could not follow. The next morning, Senna asked about it. "It is called training," Maya said. She was eating breakfast, something gray and tasteless from the academy food court. "Humans do it to keep their bodies strong. But you are not a warrior," Senna said. "Your file says you are a student, a scholar. All humans train." Maya took another bite of the gray food. "We start when we are children. We never stop. Why?" Maya was quiet for a moment. She looked out the window at the metal wall beyond. "Because our planet tried to kill us," she said finally. "Every day, for millions of years, Earth tried to kill us. The weather killed us. The animals killed us. Diseases killed us. Other humans killed us. We survived because we learned to be ready. Always ready. For anything." Senna thought about this. Her own world was gentle. The weather was mild. The plants were peaceful. The only predators had been dealt with long ago by technology. "That sounds terrible," she said. It was. Maya smiled, and for once it was a soft smile, a sad smile. But it made us what we are. That afternoon, Maya did something unusual. She went to the Academy Library and requested access to the Xenobiology archives. The librarian, a floating creature made of light and gas, was surprised. Very few students used the Xenobiology archives. The information was technical and boring. Maya spent hours there. She read everything she could find about the Cathari. She learned that they came from a high-gravity world with a thick atmosphere. Their muscles were dense and powerful. Their scales were natural armor, resistant to cuts and impacts. They had 2 hearts, which meant they could survive injuries that would kill most species. Their claws could cut through metal. Their teeth could crush bone. They were, by any measure, one of the most physically dangerous species in the galaxy. Maya kept reading. She learned that Cathari eyes were sensitive to sudden movement but slow to track smooth motion. She learned that their scales were thickest on their chests and backs, but thinner on their joints and throats. She learned that the nerve clusters beneath their jaws were extremely sensitive. She learned that their knee joints, despite being strong, were designed for forward motion and were weak to lateral pressure. She took notes on everything. Senna found her in the library that evening. "Everyone is talking about Rexus," Senna said. Her antennae were trembling. They were always trembling now. "He has been meeting with his pack. They say he is planning something. They say it will happen soon." "Good," Maya said without looking up from her reading. "Good?" Senna's voice went high with fear. "How is that good?" "He's going to hurt you. Really hurt you this time. You need to go to the administration. You need to ask for protection. The administration will not help." Maya finally closed her datapad and looked at Senna. "You told me that yourself. Strength and dominance are natural here. The strong do what they want. The weak accept it. Then you need to leave. Transfer to another school. Go back to Earth. Anything. No. Why not?" Senna was almost crying now. In the weeks since Maya had arrived, she had grown fond of the strange human. She did not want to see her destroyed. Maya stood up. She was shorter than Senna, but somehow, in that moment, she did not seem small. Do you know how humans got to space? Maya asked. Senna shook her head. We fought for it. Every step of the way. We fought gravity. We fought the vacuum. We fought our own limitations. Every time the universe told us we could not do something, we found a way to do it anyway. That is what humans are. We are the species that does not give up. She picked up her datapad. I am not going to run from Vrexis. I am not going to hide. I am not going to accept that I am weak because some lizard with muscles says so. I am going to stand my ground. And when he comes for me, I am going to teach him something about my species. Teach him what? Maya's eyes went hard, cold, old. That we are not prey. That we have never been prey. That every predator who ever underestimated us ended up dead, and we ended up with their bones around our necks. Senna felt a shiver run through her body. For a moment, she saw something in Maya's face that she had never seen in any species before. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was not even confidence. It was certainty. Absolute, unshakable certainty. Maya walked back to their room, leaving Senna alone in the library. The Pelorian stood there for a long time, thinking about what she had just seen and heard. That night she could not sleep. She kept thinking about Earth, about a planet of storms and predators, about a species that had clawed its way to the top of its food chain with nothing but rocks and determination. The galaxy called humans soft. The galaxy called humans weak. But Senna was beginning to think the galaxy was very, very wrong. In her bed across the room, Maya slept peacefully. She dreamed of Earth, of red deserts and blue oceans, of her parents smiling and laughing, of all the millions of years of struggle that had made her what she was. Tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, Vrexis would make his move. Maya would be ready. She had been ready her whole life. All humans were. The Unity Festival was the biggest event of the Academy year. Students from every species gathered in the grand arena to celebrate galactic cooperation. There were performances and speeches and traditional demonstrations. The arena was packed with thousands of beings, all dressed in their finest clothes, all watching the stage at the center. Maya sat in the upper rows with Senna. She wore her standard gray uniform, the same one she wore every day. She had not brought any fine clothes from Earth. She had not thought she would need them. The festival was beautiful. Species that had been enemies for centuries stood side by side. Ancient songs were sung in languages older than most civilizations. Maya watched it all with quiet interest. Despite everything, she loved learning about other cultures. She loved seeing how different species solved the same problems in different ways. Then, Vrexis stepped onto the stage. He was dressed in ceremonial armor, black and gold, the colors of his family. His scales had been polished until they shone like metal. He looked like a god of war, massive and terrible. The crowd went quiet. I invoke the right of challenge, Vrexis announced. His voice boomed through the arena. By ancient tradition, I call out the one who has insulted my honor. I call out the human. Maya Jun of Earth. A murmur swept through the crowd. People turned to look at the upper rows where Maya sat. Senna grabbed her arm. Do not go, she whispered. He cannot force you. If you ignore him, he will look foolish. But Maya was already standing up. What are the terms? She called out. Her voice was calm, clear, and somehow carried to every corner of the arena. Vrexis smiled. His teeth were like knives. First blood or submission. Traditional weapons only. No outside interference. He spread his arms wide. Unless you were too afraid, little human. The crowd was silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The right of challenge was ancient law. The administration could not stop it. If Maya accepted, she would have to fight Rexus alone in front of everyone. If she refused, she would be mocked as a coward. No species would ever respect her again. Maya began walking down toward the arena floor. Senna tried to stop her, but Maya gently removed her hand. "It is okay," Maya said. "I know what I am doing." "You will die," Senna said. Tears were running down her furry face. Maya smiled. "Humans are hard to kill. You would be surprised." She walked down the long stairs, past hundreds of staring faces, past whispered prayers and cruel laughter. She stepped onto the arena floor, and the crowd seemed to hold its breath. Rexus towered over her. Standing this close, the size difference was almost funny. He was nearly twice her height. His arms were as thick as her legs. His claws glinted in the arena lights. "You have no weapons," he observed. "Not even a knife. Did you forget?" "I did not forget," Maya said. "Then you are more foolish than I thought." Rexus flexed his claws. "I will try to make this quick. Out of respect for your bravery, if nothing else." The arena official, an ancient Valorni, stepped forward. "The challenge has been accepted. First blood or submission. No killing blows. No outside interference. Begin on my signal." He raised his hand. Maya did something strange then. She changed. Not her body. Her body stayed exactly the same, but everything else about her shifted. Her posture lowered. Her weight settled into her legs. Her hands came up open and loose. Her eyes went flat and focused. Senna, watching from above, felt her blood go cold. She had seen Maya move at night, doing her strange training. But this was different. This was real. This was what humans looked like. When they were ready to fight, the official dropped his hand. Rexus charged. He was fast. Faster than something that big should be. His claws swept toward Maya's face in an arc that would have torn her head from her shoulders. Maya was not there. She moved like smoke, sliding sideways, letting his claws pass so close that they ruffled her hair. Before Rexus could recover, she was inside his reach, too close for him to use his arms properly. Her elbow drove up into the soft tissue. Beneath his jaw, Rexus made a sound he had never made before. A grunt of pain and surprise. He staggered back, shaking his head. The crowd gasped. Maya did not chase him. She settled back into her stance and waited. "Lucky," Rexus growled. He touched his throat where she had hit him. "That will not happen again." He attacked again, more carefully this time. His claws came in sweeping patterns, designed to catch her no matter which way she moved. He was using his reach, keeping her at distance. Maya gained ground. She stepped back and back and back. The crowd thought she was losing. They thought she was running. They were wrong. She was learning. She watched how he moved, how he shifted his weight before each strike, how his eyes tracked her, how his feet positioned themselves. She fed all of this information into the ancient computer in her skull, the one that 3 million years of survival had built. Rexus lunged. Maya dropped, not backward, down. Her whole body went low, so low her back almost touched the ground. His claws passed over her harmlessly, and from that impossible position, she kicked. Her foot hit his right knee from the side. The joint was not designed for that kind of pressure. It buckled. Rexus screamed and fell to one knee. Maya was already moving. She rolled, came up behind him, and drove her heel into the back of his other knee. Now both legs were damaged. The mighty HFY warrior was kneeling on the arena floor, unable to stand. The crowd was completely silent. Maya walked around to face him. She was not even breathing hard. "Your scales are armor," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "But your joints are not. Your eyes are fast, that they lose track of smooth motion. Your strength is incredible, but it means nothing if you cannot catch me." She stepped closer. I have been watching you for a week, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this moment. That is what humans do. We watch, we learn, we adapt, and then we win. Rexus tried to rise. Maya's hand shot out and pressed against the nerve cluster beneath his jaw. It was a gentle touch, barely any pressure at all. But Rexus froze. I could kill you right now, Maya said quietly. Only Rexus could hear her. One push, and this nerve cluster sends a signal to your brain that stops your hearts. I know exactly how much pressure it takes. Do you understand? Rexus stared at her. For the first time in his life, he felt true fear. Yield, Maya said. The word hung in the air. For a long moment, Rexus did not move. His pride screamed at him to fight. His honor demanded that he never submit. He was Ketheri. He was a warrior. He would rather die than kneel before this tiny creature. But something in Maya's eyes told him she was not bluffing. She would do it. She would kill him, right here, in front of everyone. And she would not feel bad about it. I yield, he whispered. Maya stepped back. She turned to the official. The challenge is complete, she said. I claim victory. The official stared at her for a long moment. Then he raised his hand. The human is victorious. The arena exploded. Some species cheered. Some screamed in disbelief. Some sat in stunned silence. On the stage, Rexus's pack was frozen, unable to process what they had just seen. Maya walked back toward the stairs. The crowd parted before her like water. No one dared to touch her. No one dared to speak to her. Senna met her at the top of the stairs. The Pelorium was crying and laughing at the same time. How? She asked. How did you do that? Maya looked back at the arena floor, where medics were helping Rexus to his feet. His legs were damaged. His pride was destroyed. He would recover from the first. She was not sure about the second. I told you, Maya said. Humans are hard to kill. She walked out of the arena, leaving a galaxy of shocked faces behind her. The headmaster's office was at the very top of the academy. The walls were made of transparent crystal that showed the stars in every direction. It was beautiful and cold, like the headmaster himself. His name was Corvus. He was Valorni, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. His body was thin and silver. His eyes were black pools that reflected nothing. And he had watched empires rise and fall for over 2,000 years. Nothing surprised him anymore, until today. Maya sat across from him in a chair designed for much larger species. Her feet did not quite reach the floor. She looked very small and very young. But Corvus had just watched her dismantle the best Ketheri fighter in the academy in under 1 minute. Small and young meant nothing anymore. That was not self-defense, Corvus said. His voice was like wind through empty halls. That was expertise. Our records show no combat training in your file. Your records are not complete, Maya said. Clearly, Corvus steepled his long fingers. Tell me about your species. The truth this time. Maya was quiet for a moment. She looked out at the stars, thinking about how to explain something that humans themselves did not fully understand. We evolved on a planet that was trying to kill us, she began. Not in a gentle way. Not slowly, actively, violently. Our world had ice ages that covered half the planet. It had droughts that lasted decades. It had predators that were faster than us, stronger than us, better armed than us. She turned back to look at Corvus. We should have died. Every other species in our situation would have died. But we did not. We survived. We survived because we learned to do something no other species on our planet could do. What was that? We learned to never give up. Corvus tilted his head. Many species are stubborn. This is different. Maya leaned forward. We do not just refuse to die. We refuse to accept limits. When the ice came, we did not migrate. We built shelters. When the predators hunted us, we did not hide. We hunted them back. When our bodies were not strong enough, we made tools. When our tools were not good enough, we made better tools. We never stopped. We never accepted that something was impossible. She held up her small, soft hand. You see weakness. No claws, no armor, no natural weapons. But this hand can hold a spear. This hand can throw a rock. This hand can build a fire or make a trap or write a book that teaches 1,000 other hands to do the same thing. Maya dropped her hand. We did not become the top predator on our planet because we were the strongest. We became the top predator because we refused to accept that we were not. Corvus was silent for a long time. He had lived 2,000 years. He had seen species come and go. He had seen warriors and conquerors and killers beyond counting. But he had never heard anyone describe their own evolution quite like this. And now? He asked. Your species has reached the stars. You have no more predators to fight. What drives you now? The same thing that always drove us. Maya smiled, and for a moment she looked genuinely happy. Curiosity, wonder, the need to know what is over the next hill. We came to the academy because we want to learn. We want to understand. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. She paused. But we will not be anyone's prey. Not ever again. The galaxy can have our friendship, our creativity, our technology, our love. We want to give all of those things. But if anyone tries to take from us by force, they will discover what 3 million years of survival has made us. Corvus nodded slowly. He understood now. Humans were not what they appeared to be. They were not soft, not weak, not naive. They were survivors of the highest order, wrapped in gentle packaging. What do you want? He asked. From the academy. From the galaxy. What does humanity want? Maya thought about the question carefully. We want to belong, she said finally. We spent so long alone on our little world, fighting and struggling and surviving. Now we are finally out here, among other minds, other cultures, other ways of thinking. We want to be part of that. We want to contribute. We want to help. She stood up. Even standing, she was barely taller than Corvus sitting down. But we will not beg. We will not grovel. We will not accept being treated as lesser beings just because we are new. We have earned our place in this galaxy the same way we earned our place on Earth. Through struggle, through determination, through sheer refusal to stop. She turned toward the door, then paused. The Kethari think strength is everything. They think the strong rule and the weak obey. But they are wrong. The truly strong do not need to dominate others. The truly strong lift others up. That is the kind of strength humans want to bring to the galaxy. She met Corvus's ancient eyes. I hope you will let us. She left. Corvus sat in his chair for a long time, watching the stars turn slowly outside his crystal walls. 6 months later, 47 human students attended the academy. None of them were bullied. Word had spread about what Maya had done. Word had spread about what humans were capable of. The species that looked soft was not soft at all. The species that seemed weak was anything but. Rexus came to see Maya on a quiet afternoon. His legs had healed, but he walked with a slight limp now. It would be with him forever. He found her in the library, reading one of her paper books. She looked up when he approached, but did not run. She did not even tense. I do not understand, he said. He stood across from her, huge and scarred and confused. You could have killed me. Why did you not? Maya put down her book. She looked at him, really looked at him, and he saw no anger in her eyes. No hatred, just something soft and sad. Because killing you would not have solved anything, she said. It would have made me your enemy forever. It would have made all Kethori my enemies. That is not what I want. That is not what humanity wants. Then what do you want? Maya gestured to the empty chair across from her. Sit down. Rexus hesitated. A year ago, he would have laughed at the idea of sitting with this small creature. Now he was not sure of anything anymore. Slowly, carefully, he sat. Humans spent most of our history fighting each other, Maya said. We were very good at it. We invented 1,000 ways to kill. We burned cities. We destroyed nations. We came very close to ending ourselves completely. She leaned forward. And then we realized something. Fighting did not solve problems. It just created new ones. The only way to really win was to stop fighting. To talk. To understand. To find common ground. She held out her hand. It was the same hand that had nearly killed him. Small and soft and harmless looking. I do not want to be your enemy, Rexus. I want to be your friend. I want to learn from you. I want you to learn from me. The galaxy is big enough for both of us. Rexus looked at her hand for a long time. Everything he had been taught said this was weakness. Everything in his culture said he should reject this offer, should hate this human who had defeated him. But something new was stirring in his chest. Something that had started when he saw her stand up from that first fall, unafraid. Something that had grown when she spared his life in the arena. Respect. Slowly, he took her hand. I do not understand your species, he said. Maya smiled. It was warm and kind and completely genuine. Neither do we sometimes. But we are learning. Together, maybe we can figure it out. In the years that followed, Maya and Rexus became unlikely friends. She taught him about Earth, about human history, about the strange combination of violence and compassion that defined her species. He taught her about the Kethari, about their ancient codes, about the honor that drove them. They did not always agree. Sometimes they argued. Sometimes they fought, though never seriously. But they always came back to the table. They always kept talking. And slowly, one conversation at a time, they began to build something new. The galaxy had many ancient powers, many mighty empires, many species that thought they knew how the universe worked, but none of them had ever met anything quite like humans, a species that survived through spite, a species that conquered through friendship, a species that had learned, through millions of years of struggle, that the greatest strength of all was the strength to choose peace. The galaxy was not ready for them, but they were ready for the galaxy. And that made all the difference.